Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a swatch party. Today I'm going to be swatching the Pure X Raw Beauty Christi eyeshadow palette. I have done 3 looks, 1 palette using this palette on my channel already, and I have also done a full series using it on my makeup Instagram account, which is at emily.catherine, Kathryn, and today I'm going to be swatching it for you guys. So I'm going to start with the neutral side and then move on to the colorful side. So if you would like to see swatches of this amazingly beautiful palette, then just keep watching. So I'm gonna start with the neutral side, and the first shade here is called Camelot, and this is a really gorgeous kind of like orangey yellowy shade. It's not a true yellow, it's not a true orange, it's kind of somewhere right in between. And then we have this really pretty coral shade called It Just Does, and these are so heavily pigmented and just like buttery smooth. I love this palette so much. Next we have the shade called My Whole Heart, which is a very light shade that is subtly peachy. And then we have the shade Copper Boxes, which again is a mid-tone mustardy brown shade. That's what this color is called. It's a mustard. It's mustardy. Next we have the shimmer shade from this side of the palette called Golden Ticket, and it is such a highly reflective, beautiful gold shade. I really loved using this as a full-on glitter shade all over my lids, but also as a lid topper, just dabbing your finger in it a little bit and then just kind of using it as a topper shade. Next we have this mid-tone mauve called Moo Point, which I'm going to be honest, I kind of had a more difficult time incorporating the shade into looks because I just didn't really know what to pair it with in this palette, because it's really the only cool toned shade really in this palette besides a few things on the colorful side, so I just didn't really know how to use it and incorporate it into look. So next we have B, which honestly when you're swatching it in the pan it feels a little bit drier than the other shades, but then right after that we go into the shade Told You, which feels like a literal cream. It is like so buttery and gorgeous. This is kind of like an orangey warm mid-tone shade, and B is a deep mustard brown. And then the last shade on the neutral side is the shade called You're Not My Real Dad, and it is this deep, rich, cool toned, almost purpley brown shade, and I think it is so gorgeous, and that is one of the few cool toned shadows that is in this palette. So I flipped over to the colorful side, and here we go. So the first shade is called Flavor Town, and it is this intensely bright cherry red shade. That one was a little bit of the more dry formula. And then we have the shade Garden State, which I think is my favorite color in this entire palette. It is this gorgeous like teal shade, and I just love this color so much. That was the super creamy formula. Next we have the shade Tribute, which is this really gorgeous kind of warm toned purple shade, and that was the super creamy formula. And then we have the shade Am I Orange, which is almost like a toned down orange shade. It's not so intensely brightly orange colored as you would think of in a rainbow palette, but it is still very intense. I'm going to switch to the other arm now for my last 5 swatches. My dog is trying to lick this off my arm. No, get down. So the next shade is Cafe Disco, which is another cool toned shade, and this one is like a super light pink shimmery shade. It almost looks like nothing. This looks really gorgeous as an eye topper. And then we have this hot fiery pink shade called Side Effect, and this shade does actually stain your eyelids, but it is so gorgeous. I loved playing with this shade. Next, we have the shade Dandelion, which is more of a true yellow, But as you can see, it is very similar to Camelot. And then we have the shade Hurtful, which is this deep turquoise shade, and this shade is that insanely smooth, creamy, buttery feeling formula that is so beautiful in this palette. That shade pairs beautifully with Garden State. I loved pairing those two together. I thought it was just like a really fun eye look. And then the very last shade that I just got some orange in, so that's cool, is the Bright Matte White in this palette, which is called Lumos, and this is such an intense bright white shade. I think it was a really beautiful addition to this palette. So those are all the swatches of the Pure X Raw Beauty Kristi eyeshadow palette. I love this palette so much. I love playing around with it. I think that it is a really beautiful color story. Maybe it's not the most unique. Where is she? I just took this from my dog. Sock. Maybe it's not the most unique color story we've ever seen, but the quality truly is so amazing on this eyeshadow palette that if for some reason it ever comes back, you have to move heaven and earth to pick this up. It is such a beautiful eyeshadow palette. That is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed my little swatch party that I did. I hope you will like this video and maybe subscribe before you go, and hopefully I will see you in my next video. Bye!